Here, the Marine Corps, Pastor Tom on the board, so the ones and twos, also Marine. And I have a special guest today who's going to let you know some of the things that's been going on in his life and his times, but he's representing the Navy and proud of it too. So this is how we do it each and every week on the Gospel Jazz Connection. We just talk about things that are pertinent, things you don't hear every day, because some things they don't want us to know. And those things are the most prevalent, because that is what's going to help to sustain us, to encourage us, and uplift us. And that's what we got to do with each other nowadays in a day full of hate and trying to dogmatically just break people's spirits. We're here to lift up the spirit. So once again, I found this young man through this organization, and I'm going to tell you a little about this organization. It's the Jonathan Foundation, and it's a private, nonprofit 501c3 formed in 2001, founded by Raja Mahaba. It all began when both of her sons were diagnosed with ADHD and learning disabilities. Today, both of our boys, Jonathan and Omar, sit on the board of the Jonathan Foundation and are actively involved. They connect with our special needs children on a level most people cannot, because they live the path these children are currently walking. Please visit their website and social media for more information. That's www.thejonathanfoundation.org or IG at the Jonathan Foundation. And I was blessed to do the red carpet. They were honoring quite a few people. Daddy Trejo, which I've known for 30 years, is one of them. And I met this young man that was really, really intriguing, because this guy, not only is he a military cat, but also he's got another flavor that I love so much, and that's racing. And that is what drew me to say, okay, we need to talk more about it. So today I have Mr. Felix Nighthawk Giles. Giles, what's going on, brother? Welcome aboard. Thanks for coming in and sharing some time with us, brother.
Well, the pleasure and honor is mine.
So, as you may have known or noticed when you came in and got bombarded with questions and conversations, we don't do interviews here. We just chop it up. And so that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to ask you to give our listening audience a little background. Just who is Nighthawk?
Well, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and when I was growing up in Cleveland back in the 1950s, Cleveland was the most segregated city in the country. Now, you would have thought it would be in Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, someplace like that, but it was Cleveland. And one of the other most segregated cities was Southie, Boston. Both of these cities were in the north. But I grew up during that time. I got to unfortunately witness things that totally changed my life, like 4 little black girls being blown up in a church, to the point where I was afraid to go to church. And so a lot of different things have molded my life and allowed me to make choices that have benefited others. Also, I was drafted in 1970 during Vietnam, and I ran down and joined the Navy so I wouldn't have to go to Vietnam.
Okay.
And it worked out, except for, I decided I wanted to be on aircraft carriers, but I tested very high in the ASVAB tests, and it had a little psychological section where only 3% of people passed that section, and that got me on submarines. So on submarines, we were underwater 85 days without coming up, so it's like going in your bathroom, closing the door with no windows, and staying there for 85 days.
Right.
Most people can't do that. But it was something I was extremely proud of. And after the military, spending 13 years there, I became an aerospace engineer, which was my lifelong dream, and I helped build the B-2 stealth bomber. From there, I went into racing, and then I made history becoming the first black person to race the Baja 1000 in Mexico, which is an off-road race, and the first to do the NASCAR Truck Series. And these experiences have allowed me to be in a position to help others. And this is something that my parents always instilled in me, that you were doing God's work if you were helping others.
Right.
And so I've done that. I was also a college professor for 5 years.
What course did you teach?
I taught computer science,
Okay.
undergrad level. Yeah.
Gotcha. So you've always been a numbers kind of cat. So let me ask you, what made you decide the racing aspect is a part of what you want to do? Because that has nothing to do with numbers. Well, it does, but inadvertently. But to be as disciplined for that Baja race, dude, let people know a little about that hard course on that one. That's a number of days, a number of miles that you run through. Talk a little about that.
Well, the Baja 1000 isn't for the meek. So it's a race that is 1,000 miles long. It's an endurance race, and we race and do the whole 1,000 miles in one day. And so we don't get to sleep. We're just hitting that race. It's bumping and jumping, and I've had good times and bad times. I've had bad crashes and where I've been injured, and some of my dear friends have been killed in the sport. But it's a sport that's in my blood, and I'm basically going back to racing. We're doing everything to make this year's Baja 1000.
Right. Now from that, then you decided to go into the NASCAR Truck Series is no joke. I was surprised at the number of African Americans that are even involved in that.
Well, the big thing is they developed the Truck Series and invited a lot of the off-road racers to come into the Truck Series. And I was honored to be able to go into NASCAR, but you got to understand, NASCAR kind of comes from the old days.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
there were issues, but I was still honored to race.
And for those that don't understand what we're saying right now, you've seen the oval tracks and you've seen these little modified, like your cars that you drive every day, but they're modified and they're driving around in an oval. But these guys are doing it in a truck, which is a whole different dynamic, aerodynamic and everything else. So I like that Truck Series, but it's new to me, and I like it, but it's very interesting because I'm like, I wouldn't do that to a truck. You know what I'm saying? I have too many lovely things I could do with a truck other than go around in circles. But you're right, it's not for the faint of heart. So when you decided to get involved in that, and you have sustained some injuries, I'm sure.
Unfortunately, if you race, you're going to get injuries. I mean,
Right.
There's no way around it. You're doing 150 miles an hour, or higher in the trucks.
Right.
We got all the way up to 200 miles an hour. And
Right.
so it's a situation where one little mistake
Oh yeah.
can change your day.
Yeah, or a pebble in the road or something like that. Yes, indeed.
Definitely.
But you came back with the tenacity and the audacity to say you're going to do it again. So what kind of reasoning is that?
Well, I didn't say I was the smartest guy in the room, but it's in my blood, and when people have certain situations in their blood, they do what it takes to get back to that love that you have.
Right. And then we heard in the background the news break, so that's a news flash you just gave us. That's good. That's keeping it going. So you got that spirit of excellence to where the more you achieve, the more that you want to do.
Yes.
And at your age, you're not a youngster. So you're not starting back over because you've already got the fundamentals. But what would you tell a young person that really looks at this on television and feels excited about seeing it? What would you tell them if they say, hey, you know, how do I get involved? What's involved in it to start? What would you tell them?
Well, the first thing, more than anything else, you have to be willing to put in the work. And if you're not willing to do that, this is not a sport that you should even consider.
Right.
But the situation is, you know, there's a lot of wonderful rewards and a lot of heartbreak. And you've got to be able to put up with both of them equally. And so the situation is to tell someone that they need to do everything they can to get ready for it. You know, research it, find out more about it, fall in love with it, and then start doing all of the work that it takes to get to that point. You know, if you're not willing to do the work, it doesn't happen. Plain and simple.
Right. But it takes a lot of money and a lot of time. So sponsorship, how important is sponsorship to you?
You don't race if you don't have sponsorship.
Unless you come out of your pocket.
You know, and if you won the lotto, maybe you can come out of your pocket. But other than that, if you don't have sponsors, you don't race. And so money is very important. This situation is one where you still have to keep your soul. You know, some people are willing to sell their soul in order to do their dream, but you still have to maintain who you are. Right,
right. That's the one definitive part, is because if you get lost in the shuffle, it's hard to find your way back.
Yes, it is.
Even in the racing circuit, even with sponsorship. And it's hard, I'm sure, with money being thrown at you when you start winning. Of course, yeah, you got to be in it to win it. And once you start doing that, sponsors are going to come, because nobody's going to put money behind something that isn't valid. Something that they can't see can make money or bring attention to them as sponsors. So those that want to understand a little bit about how you get sponsorship, let's talk a little bit about that. Just not much, but you know.
Well, Kathy Carpenter is the president of our foundation, the Nighthawk Foundation, and you know, she talks a lot about being able to get out there, make a difference, being different, and in her eyes, it's the story. So there's a million people that want to race, but what makes you different? In my case, where, you know, we have a story, you know, we have history, we have things that we can build upon, and if you don't have something that's different that catches their attention, why are they going to put their money behind you?
Right.
And so that's the big issue. If you have a story, and just about everyone has a story, they may not realize it, but just about everyone has a story.
Wow. And we've got a lot more to uncover. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Gospel Jazz Connection. I'm D. Nice, and you're here with a special guest, Mr. Felix Nighthawk Giles. And we're going to be right back after this quick message, and we're going to talk more to this young man and get more for you to understand right after this. We're back. This is D. Nice, and you're listening to the Gospel Jazz Connection on KTYM, where truth is truth and love is love, and God is love. And we're sharing some information with you today, from a young man that has lived a life and still living a life. But we want to get a little deeper into his loves, his desires, his ambitions, and his futures, and what he'd like to see happen with our young people, because that's what we're focusing on right now, the young people who are going to take our place. So I am going to bring in a sister that is no stranger to the KTYM family. She did a series with Gang Talk where she was at the front line and trying to get the problem dissolved with these warring gangs and the craziness that comes with that. She's lived it, she's walked it, she's talked it, and here she is today to join us on the set. Sister Herron, how you doing, sister?
Well, I'm doing fine for a crazy lady after all these years, but I'm happy to be here.
Right.
Happy to be in your company.
And in good faith and in good standing. I love it.
Share some good conversation.
Yes. Now, so far, you've been able to hear this young man over here talk about some of his past lives and, different, takes on different things. So, what you both have in common is the love for the youngsters.
Well, my distinguished partner here today is an example of how important it is that our youth not only know our history, but understand what it takes to be strong in our ethnicity. That's the most important thing that I need to convey to them, is the strength that's required to survive in spite of those that have ill will today, and as well as those working against us, as my esteemed friend here was saying earlier, that they're trying to erase our history as we're speaking right now. And that's just not a thing that we can afford to allow to happen, and my faith tells me it's not going to happen. No, it's not going to happen. And the youth today, it's very important that they understand how important our history is and how prominent it is in the building of this country. And after all the things that we've been through, they really don't have the right to try to dismiss us anymore.
Right.
Really, they still do it, but they don't have the right to, and it's so detrimental to our feelings of fellowship with those that continue to work against us. I don't see any fellowship building in there. And our whole survival has been about building and finding a fellowship that's amenable to work with, in partnership with, and that's the history of our overcoming, is when we helped each other, when we actually lived as a village. And that only changed when they broke down the segregation laws. That only changed. I mean, we had Black Wall Streets because of segregation. You see, without the option to shop in somebody else's place, we invested that money on our own, and that's how we had wealth built.
Now, coming from the coast that you've been involved with growing up, I know you saw a lot of different variances in growing up where you were raised.
Yes.
And then coming to the Navy and going to different ports. You must have seen quite a few variances. What did you get out of it when you put that all together in this thing called truth that you present?
The painful thing about going overseas was the fact that I was treated better overseas than I was in my own country. That's the painful side. The painful thing is understanding that they know more about our history than we do. That's the painful side. And so there's so many different things to learn and to keep learning. You never stop learning. Education is the key. I give so much credit to my mother, for preparing me for this world. I give so much credit to this wonderful lady here who has made a difference, who's had bullet holes in her house. I didn't grow up with bullet holes in my house.
Right.
The stuff that she was willing to put herself through, and the fact that I have, because of my mother, so much respect for women. You need to understand the most educated group in our country is black women. You also need to understand that the first group of people that Trump fired was over 300,000 black women. They were targeted. And so the fact that we have someone like this beautiful and wonderful lady making a difference, being an inspiration for me to keep me doing what I'm doing, I will continue doing it and hope that I can be an inspiration to others, just like she's an inspiration to me.
Right. Varying ages and demographics that we have combined in this room. We have the knowledge to be able to interpret it to where outsiders can see and understand where we're at, why we're here, and where we want to go, and how to get there. It is our responsibility and our job to take it upon ourselves to make that one step. And as you make that one step and you pass somebody else, you bring them aboard. And it's a matter of being able to conversate in such a way that they buy into your truth. And the truth is the light. Darkness can't exist. When you walk into a room and it's dark and you turn the light on, then what happens? It's illuminated. The darkness does not leave, it's still there. It just dissipates because the light is strong enough to overshadow the darkness. And for those listening that want to prove it, turn that light on and then turn it off. And that darkness is automatically there. So it doesn't have to knock on the door and announce itself. It's just there. So when we're doing something or saying something or reaching out to somebody and we're living our truth, that's the basic part. Live your truth. And when we're living and speaking our truth, others are going to see it. And there's no way that they can deny the truth because they see freedom. And people now are so locked up to looking for freedom. They're looking for a way out, but they don't know which way to go. They don't know how to express it. We're here to show them it's okay. Do you agree?
Well, one of the things, if you want to control a people, just control the truth.
No, absolutely. The truth makes us free.
Yes.
It doesn't just set us free, it makes us free. Because the hardest thing to do is remember a lie. Okay, you can't remember the details of that lie. You can't even remember the first time you told it and what you said. But the truth, you remember all of it.
Yeah.
All of it. And you can restate from facts, you see. And that's the biggest difference that we live with. We have been forced to live with our truth, whether we liked it or not. You see, and some of us really want to ignore it because the pain of it is too great, and we're tired of hurting. We're people that are sick and tired of hurting, and our misery seems to come from others before they turned us against ourselves. So, yes, the truth is the biggest sustainable thing that we need to keep and hold on to, because as they're lying about us to get rid of us, you see, we have to stand up and tell them, well, see, that's not the way it happened. This is what happened. I was there. I was a witness, and you can't change my story as a living witness, you see. So it's very important for us to share that knowledge, keep it alive, and pass it on to the future, like his mother passed it on to him, you see. And I'm raised from her generation, that standard that they set when they were coming out of slavery and trying to establish ourselves as a viable people, when we were trying to have that family unit that actually started with the sharecropper. Okay, he went from picking that cotton and now being a sharecropper and growing it. The most important thing about that story is that he had his own family at the table. That's the most important thing we need to remember about that sharecropper. He had his own family at the table, and he was working to feed them as well as he was to pay the debt he owed to the landowner, you see. So there's a lot of strength in our history that our children really need to embrace to strengthen them for what's going on right now. Really, it's very important that we continue to pay attention, because the one thing that they have sustained in this history, we are always a target.
Yes.
Always. Always.
People always fear what they don't understand.
Well, you know what? I don't want to be that generous. I don't want to be that generous because this has been purposeful from the first time they brought us over here in chains. Okay, from the time that they abused us and split our families and misused us. You see, that's our history. That's our history. And where do I get the generosity to let go of that? I mean, when have I been given the opportunity to say, oh, I forgive you. I forgive you for stealing my great ancestors. I forgive you for killing my great great grandfather. Oh, I forgive you. And that's the amazing thing about our story and our position. We're the ones expected to do the forgiving. And we have done it by surviving in this country, by fighting for our place in this country, to still see that element still working against us in 2026. You see, it's in my lifetime, and I figured at my age I had become the historian, okay, because I was blessed to live in the time of Malcolm and Martin and to hear those men speak and what their determination was. We're going to do it one way or another.
Right.
We're the yin and the yang. You pick a side, but we're going to do this, period. And those two men stood on that strength to get us through another level that now they're trying to take back when the Supreme Court reversed that ruling they just made a few weeks ago. That
the Voting Rights Act, the segregation bill.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
they're going to keep on trying. But you know, the best success is to overcome the rulers, the regime, whatever they call it.
That's our core
That's
strength.
the revenge.
That's our core strength.
So for their revenge, we've got to get successful. To show them no matter what you're coming at it with.
Yes.
We've been there, done that. Wrote the
there.
book on it,
Yes.
and we can handle it.
Yes.
And we've got to get these young people in a mindset to where
It's
they're
important.
to where they're not letting people get into their minds and
They're
say,
not
look,
lost and confused.
we can't do this. We're
Mhm.
blocking this, we're blocking that.
Mhm.
No, you didn't always have that privilege.
No.
And we're giving it to you. You've got to grip it. If it's not on TikTok, that doesn't mean it's not right. That doesn't mean it's not true because it's not on TikTok.
Yeah.
It just means that you've got to find an understanding in what you hear from your elders. We've lived it and still have made it through.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what we've got to tell them. No matter what, look at me, I'm still standing. And
Well,
we gotta
you
be
know
an
what?
example.
Our greatest gift is survival.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're required to teach that to each generation that we birth into this world. You have a commitment by your color to survive. You have a commitment. You have a duty. You have a responsibility not to let them crush you.
No, we can't, because once they do, they smile and walk away. Well, in these last couple of minutes we have before we wrap this up, we're going to get final words. Brother Felix, what final word do you have for these young people as we're going over here today?
Before you speak, can I just compliment you because you're not only just a survivor due to the heroics of your mother in raising you the best she could in the right way, but you are unique in that you have not only served for the military, but you did a unique thing by serving on a submarine.
Yes.
And I just want to compliment you for doing that. That took a lot of strength to be that one and to fight off sharks in the middle of the ocean. Okay.
So go ahead, we got about 15 seconds left. Go ahead, brother.
Well, the biggest thing is understand that we have to make a difference. We're not going to get too many chances to do that. And life has changed for everybody. So go out there and make your difference.
That's correct. Well, my name is D Nice, and this is what I do each and every Wednesday. We bring you Gospel Jazz Connection from Women of Prominence, and we give you the light to walk by. So until next time, I'm going to thank my guest, Felix. Thanks. Sister Herron, thanks a lot. And like I say each and every week, put God first, and everything else will follow. I guarantee it.